Although Americans and Italians regard Saltimbocca as a distinctly Italian dish, the fact is that there's many variations, and they exist throughout Switzerland, Germany, Austria, Slovenia, Greece, and even Turkey. It was usually made with veal traditionally, but the high cost of that has pushed many people into making it with chicken in recent times. Although I'm showing you here how to make it with chicken breasts, really the better choice is either good quality veal or boneless, skinless chicken thighs. I'm also making a variation in which the prosciutto is on the outside, so be sure to read the annotations about that at the start. These are the ingredients that are going to be used in the little smear of paste on the inside. We have 22 grams of green olives, a couple of tablespoons of parsley, a couple of tablespoons of basil leaves freshly picked, some garlic, 2 garlic cloves I just cut up coarsely. They're going to be ground anyway, and then a little bit of lemon juice and some fine quality olive oil. To have this loaded into the stick blender cup, I'm going to use a sieve to make sure I don't get any seeds from the lemon in there. This is just maybe a tablespoon of lemon juice, not much. And then a good amount of olive oil, maybe 30 milliliters, something like that. And this is what you end up with. We're going to use this in a few minutes. You want to choose fairly large chicken breasts for this, because if they're too small, you won't be able to divide them. The first thing is to get rid of this tenderloin. You can use this for something else. It's not going to work here. Then trim off little end pieces like this. And you're going to square up the other side here. So we've got some chicken that you can use to grind up to make some other dish, or cut it up and use it in a pasta dish. Now you've got a piece here that's kind of triangular shaped. So what we're going to do is cut it like this. It's hard to do reaching around the camera. Always a problem here. Okay. Okay. Now I've got 3 slices. They're roughly equal in size. It's not going to be perfect no matter what you do. Okay. Now you can put this between wax paper or cling film and pound it out, but Jacquard device is going to be even better. It's not going to pound it as thin, but it'll be more tender. And that's actually a much better thing for this dish. So you repeat the same thing on all of them, or you pound it out with a mallet. Now this is the part of the recipe that seems to have been largely forgotten by people. I've got white wine here in a tray. We're going to soak the chicken breasts in the white wine, or veal if that's what you're using. It's the same principle. This is something that's always been done traditionally, especially in south of Switzerland. I don't know why this got forgotten in most recipes these days, but it adds a dimension of flavor. It's important. You only need to soak these for about 15 minutes in this case because of the Jacquard device. If you pounded them out flat with a mallet, give it 30 minutes. But this Jacquard pokes a bunch of holes in it and lets it be more absorbent. And when the time is up, wipe it off, drain it on some paper towel. And keep the rest of the little white wine that's in here. We're going to use that later. Dry it off. Yeah, we have, just doing 3 of these just to show you. You put a little bit of that green olive paste in here. Doesn't have to be exact because it's going to spill out anyway. Okay, that's fine. Fold it over. Yeah, take a piece of prosciutto crudo, put a few sage leaves on top. This, and maybe one more. And put this so that it's on the inside, so we can wrap it up like this. And you've got them assembled. I'm using a lot of prosciutto here. You don't have to use this much. You can use a thin band. It's more traditional to use less. I just really like it in here, so I'm using more. If you use a lot of prosciutto, completely wrap the chicken, this is what you're going to end up with. It's going to be a gob of prosciutto. It tastes very good, but it doesn't look as aesthetically pleasing as it does if you just wrap a thin strip like shown at the beginning of the video. And when the pan is hot, you can the floured side down first. And we'll add just a little bit more flour on the other side. This will help seal them as they cook, as well as provide better browning. After a few minutes, you flip them over, start cooking the other side. Okay, got some browning on the other side now, 2 or 3 minutes here. Flip them back over. Now I'm going to turn the heat way down to 2 out of 1 to 10, and I'm going to add, this is the wine that they were marinated in. And we put some kind of lid on them. I'm using this silicone one, and just let them sit like this and steam on a very low heat. It's actually about 1.5 out of 10, and just let them sit like this for about 5 minutes. I'm very pleased to announce the release of Volume 3, The Focus on Food Chemistry. I want to clear up a few things about these 3 volumes. First, they all contain completely different information. There's no duplication, they're not revisions. When I wrote Volume 1, I had 2.5 years of YouTube videos to cover. People had been asking me for the printed list of ingredients for all of those dishes, and so I obliged. There are recipes with stepwise directions and many tips offered throughout, as well as an extensive history of Russian cuisine over the last 1,000 years, but Volume 1 is very different from Volume 2 and 3. In Volumes 2 and 3, I only had about 9 months of YouTube recipes to cover in each, so I was able to provide stepwise directions for everything. In Volume 2, I included a lot of additional information about cooking and some simple examples of flavor chemistry to set the stage for Volume 3. While Volume 2 hopefully got you thinking about some of the processes that go on in cooking and how flavors are expressed and sensed at the molecular level, the topic was painted with pretty broad strokes to make it easy to digest, pun intended. Volume 3 is a milestone of the series, in which I have included an entire introductory course in food chemistry, which is why Volume 3 is about 70 pages longer than Volume 2. If you just want the recipes, that's okay too. You don't have to read the first few chapters. But if you've ever been curious about what influences tastes and flavors and the rationale for deciding cooking times and temperatures and why things taste different when they're combined in different ways, this book will answer many of those questions. It also paves the way for Volume 4, which will be next year. I'm pleased to announce a new, completely different type of cookbook. If you watch my channel regularly, you know that the recipes I present are usually centered on meat or seafood and seldom vegetarian dishes. This new book is a departure from that norm. Only vegetables, fruits, eggs, and dairy are used in dozens of recipes here. The key here is that these recipes don't taste like typical vegetarian food. This isn't a bunch of salads and bean sprouts wrapped in pita bread. These are completely satisfying, hearty dishes that use the science of food chemistry to produce meat-like aromas and flavors. But don't worry, there's no weird chemicals involved, just ordinary foods and spices that you can get in any grocery store. This really is an entirely new approach. These are flavorful, filling meals produced by a distinctive cooking method and unexpected combinations of ingredients. Once you see how it's done and understand the method, you can apply these preparations to some of your own recipes and transform them into vegetarian dishes too. Also look for my cocktail book, Cocktails of the South Pacific and Beyond, Advanced Mixology, available through Amazon online.